Welcome. Welcome to the Library Board meeting. It's Thursday, April 14th, 2022. It's 4 p.m. And I'm going to call this meeting to order. At the present time, we do not have a quorum, so we will not be taking any votes or on any resolutions, but we will be hearing the financial report and the librarian's report, and the building update and staffing update and all that. So, April, take it away here. Let's go over the financials.
So on the 2021 year-end financial report, we're 100% through 2021, and our budget is approximately 97.49% expended. You'll notice that the contractual maintenance line seems very overspent, and that is because that line currently includes the cost of carpet replacement, which was budgeted to come from the library's fund balance. Without that carpet replacement in there, that line is actually 53.50% spent for 2021. The finance department has completed their annual audit. Approximately $38,347.51 of the 2021 budget was unspent and will transfer to the library's fund balance. And that current fund balance is approximately $524,334.57. The healthy fund balance typically is between 35 to 50% of our operating budget, but between 35 to approximately 55%. For 2022, we have budgeted to use $59,400 of the fund balance for purchase of furniture, improvements to one of the library's entrance doors, a new network switch in our server room, and battery backup as well, and then carpet replacement for the children's room this year. So some of that balance will be spent.
Good. Any questions or comments about the year-end report? Let's go on to the year-to-date or the March.
We are 26.85% through 2022, and our budget is approximately 18.66% expended. One of the notable bills that we paid during March included $1,702.92 to Classen Mechanical, which came from the contractual maintenance building line. That project was to replace one of the water heaters in the main library building that was leaking, and to remove another water heater in the older building on the children's side. And we rerouted the piping from that water heater to an existing water heater because they're really only supplying water to mop sinks. So there's not a need for two water heaters. There's not enough activity for them to need both. So they came in and completed those projects for us in March.
Well, and you got in the paper with your new skylight, so that was fun.
Yeah.
I bet that was fun. Any other comments or questions or?
There's no timetable on the replacement of that skylight.
The building official estimated mid to late summer on the skylight, just depending on when we could end up in the contractor's schedule as well as when they can receive materials for it.
Will that require a closure or closing off of a particular area during the replacement?
It's likely we'll have to close the south end of the parking lot because it will require a crane, but we're not sure if we'll have to close the library yet. He's expecting it to be a 1 or 2 day project though, so if we do have to close, it wouldn't be for like a week or anything like that.
Okay, good. Let the light shine in.
Yes.
All right, good. Why don't we, since we've got the financials taken care of, let's go on with your library department activities reports.
I was able to attend the Public Library Association Conference in Portland, Oregon on March 23rd through 25th. The Traverse des Sioux Library Cooperative contributed an honorarium of $600 to cover a portion of my travel expenses, and then the rest would come from our travel, conferences, and schools budget line. I thought it was a really useful conference. There was a lot of talk of kind of lessons and new initiatives that libraries had worked on during the pandemic, and then how they're translating those services and lessons they learned to services now that libraries are reopened.
If I might interrupt your program, I listened to a Minnesota Public Radio call-in program this morning that talked about libraries. There were 2 library experts, and then people were calling in about libraries during the pandemics. So one of the things that I took away from that is one of the callers said that she was so happy her library provided small rooms to tutor students. She apparently has a small business where she helps students prepare for their SAT scores or helps them through summer school or that sort of thing. So I was wondering if, we don't really have any rooms like that at the present time, do we?
No, we don't have any study rooms. We do have kind of a nook in the fiction level, but it is not a private space. And that's something that we have had requests for, and it's something I'd like to explore when we're looking at our strategic plan.
Okay. Well, we'll keep that in mind. I know that the one part of the plan that wasn't accomplished was repurposing the second floor. So I think that's something that we should, if there's requests for it, we should think about that. Okay, continue.
The Programming and Technology Services librarian, Leroy Harris, has trained myself, the reference librarian, and our youth services librarian on how to prepare files to print for our 3D printer, which is available to the public now. We've refined some of our procedures for how to manage that in the library. And our public launch was on April 1st, and we had 5 attendees. And then this week we have had 3 requests for the 3D printer. So we're helping those patrons print their files and get them set up. And
Great.
it's been a lot of fun to see what kind of things they're choosing. The memoir writing class, led by the Mankato Memoir Writers Group, had 15 in attendance, and they plan to hold a regular memoir writing group at the library. The Programming and Technology Services librarian also began a 5-week digital literacy class held at Highland Regency Senior Living Apartments. Between the 3 classes that were held this month, he had 31 in attendance, and they are really excited to have him doing that class for them. Youth Services librarian hosted a celebration to honor Wandagog's birthday and partnered with the Wandagog House Association for that. Kids and parents played party games and musical chairs, pin the tail on the cat. They read a story by Wandagog, sang happy birthday, and decorated cupcakes. 32 people attended, and we just had a lot of really nice feedback about how much our patrons enjoyed that celebration. Our reference librarian performed senior outreach at 4 local assisted living facilities. She's had 20 people attending in March, and she is weekly delivering requested books to the New Ulm Middle School, and she did that 3 times in March. And then the Battle of the Books will be back this year in person. The last 2 years it's been virtual. This year's Battle of the Books will be held on Saturday, August 6th in St. Peter. So teens and tweens, so I believe it's 8 to 18 can register to compete at the library. Deadline to register is May 1st, so that's coming up quickly. And yesterday at their meeting, the Friends of the Library did support that program with a $100 donation. Would you like me to go on to programming?
Any other questions or comments about that, or should we just move on? All right, move on.
Our April programming calendar is included in the board packet. The Genealogy Club, which is a new club, will meet Thursday, April 21st at 6:30 p.m. They plan to meet monthly on the 3rd Thursday of the month. This will be their first meeting, but they'll be coming together to talk about the family history projects they're working on, share tips and ideas, share resources, and then from time to time, there will be a guest speaker who can possibly help them with some specific aspects of research.
Great. Great. Something new? Okay.
The Traverse to Sioux Regional Wi-Fi Hotspot spot update. The grant funding that the TDS library received for the regional hotspots will wind down on June 30th, meaning that service for those 3-month hotspots will also end on this date. TDS has talked about offering these hotspots for free to member libraries, the equipment themselves. So I wanted to kind of bring it before the board and see if you would like to consider adding any more of these hotspots to our collection, either to match our 1-week hotspots of 3 we currently have, or if you would like to just call the end of the project the end of the project.
We'll probably look at that next month.
The current cost of our hotspots that we offer at the New Ulm Public Library is $35 per hotspot per month, which totals out to about $1,260 annually. And between September of 2021 and March 17th of 2022, our patrons checked out the 3-month hotspots 32 times and our 1-week hotspots 27 times. And of course, our patrons are more interested in the 3-month hotspots if they're available, just because they can kind of settle into their use with them and not have to worry about getting them back right away.
April, the hotspots that are checked out for 3 months versus, what was the other one?
1 week.
1 week? Is that a different monthly rate because of the length of time that the hotspot is out in use?
I don't know what it would be based more on the data that's being used. So I imagine that TDS has a data limit set for those. And I don't remember what ours is off the top of our head. But so it would be more based on the data limits and the data that's being used than it is based on our checkout periods. I imagine that the way ours works is we have a certain amount of data per month. And once we hit that threshold, then the speed ramps down. So if someone watches a bunch of Netflix movies, then the speed slows down after that point because they've used up that data limit. So it'd be based more on that than the loan period.
How many hotspots are in our library from TDS that would be available to us if we were to say, yes, let's keep them? I mean, how many are we talking about?
I think it's fairly open at this point. I mean, the grant, I think, was to support like 500 region-wide, and I don't know that every library is in a position to be able to take on hotspots.
Right.
Some libraries, I think the Waseca, LeSueur Library, and the Martin County Library already had larger collections of Wi-Fi hotspots, so they may not choose to take extras on depending on what their budget looks like. But I think we would have a lot of options for how many we wanted to take.
Okay. It just struck me when you said $35 a month per one of these hotspots. Is I inquired on a personal basis out at one of the local stores, and it was $100 up front for the unit, and then $12 a month contract. I don't know if that's still a current price per month, but it.
Yeah. And it could be based on the other services you're already paying for too.
Okay.
Yeah, the way some of that stuff is bundled.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
I could certainly talk to the automation librarian at TDS and see what the price that they're paying for the ones that they've purchased with the grant money. But I think we could make a decision based on our budget, what kind of service we wanted, if we wanted it to match what we already have or make some changes.
Sure. Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, so next item is our building update. At its last meeting, the city council approved to replace 2 of the HVAC units on the south end of our roof, and also the skylight over the south roof as well, which we've talked a little bit already. The replacement HVAC units are probably 20 weeks out for ordering, so we're probably looking at mid to late summer for those. The current units are 25 years old, and the new units are expected to last about that long. And the skylight, like we said, could be replaced in June or July. At this point, the south parking lot would probably be closed for both projects, whether they can happen at the same time or not is kind of dependent on ordering and contractor availability. But both projects will require a crane, which is why we'd have to close the lot.
So,
And
all
then we
right, lovely building.
Right.
On to the people that are in the building.
We also have a tree in between
Oh, the tree, back to the tree.
in the
all
buildings
right.
that is going to need to come down because it's dead.
De-
Very
Dead.
close to it. So we'll take care of that. It's a small enough tree that our maintenance technician can take it down. We don't have to go outside for that work. But I will be bringing before the board in a few months a question of updating the landscaping where the tree was.
Great. Great.
April, the skylight issue just kind of reminded me that I know last year when we replaced the interior light fixtures for LED, and it was part of a Go Green or some kind of a project through the state to do something more energy efficient.
Yes.
Has the city or the utilities ever talked about renewable energy, like in some of their new buildings or in buildings like with this skylight to replace it with perhaps a solar panel?
It hasn't come up in the discussions I've been a part of related to the library building or any that I've heard of, but that doesn't mean that it hasn't happened in relation to other projects.
I wonder if Mr. Nelson down at the utilities, Derek, would have any information on if that was something that the utilities would help consider and fund and rebate through the state for some kind of a Go Green operation.
Right, yes, I've talked to Derek Nelson. He's the staff person for the Energy Awareness Commission, and I know he's working on that Green Steps, I think is
Yeah,
what
okay, that's
what it's called. And I know I got an email from him that the Energy Awareness Commission hasn't been able to meet because they haven't had a quorum, so.
No.
So that's, but yes, Derek Nelson would be the contact
I wonder
there,
if you could get maybe some further information about that.
right,
That would be an option, I don't know.
right.
For that skylight replacement. And then you could have that power light right there above the steps.
Right.
I don't know, it just struck me, but
Mm-hmm.
When I was talking with the building official about the project, one thing they had considered when they started to look at the options available was whether they would cover over that part of the roof instead of replacing the skylight, because they were concerned that another skylight could mean leaks down the road as well. But when they looked at that, just cost-wise, it was much more feasible to replace the skylight. And one of the big reasons for that is because the skylight is over the stairs, and so if they covered that roof, they'd have to put in lighting as well, and then replace the light bulbs, and it's a hard spot to get to and all of that. So the skylight is the better option financially.
Okay. All right, that's the building.
Yes.
And now the people in it.
So-
Staffing update.
Staffing updates. The posting for the assistant director closed on April 3rd. We received 24 applications.
Oh, my.
And we are planning to do interviews this coming Tuesday, and Bernice is going to sit on that interview committee with the city's HR director, Shauna Baumgarten, and myself. So
Are you interviewing all 24 people?
no.
Okay.
At this time, we're planning to interview 4.
4, okay. All right.
And then Melissa Winch, one of our library aides, has resigned from her position as library aide, and that was effective Tuesday, April 5th. And that internal posting closes today, so we'll see if we have any internal applicants. If not, it will be posted externally. And then Amy Eveslodge, our youth services aide, resigned her position effective Saturday, April 9th. And that internal posting also closes today, so if we don't have any applicants, it will be posted externally. So we have some positions to fill. Staff are doing a really great job at volunteering to cover shifts. Everyone has been really flexible. I think we have a really great team that we're just taking it in stride and no effect to our services.
Oh, good, thank you. That's very good to hear. That's a very good thing to hear. Good, and I'm sure you're, the team leader is a big part of that, so.
April, did that youth services librarian submit a resignation at one time and then ask it to be withdrawn?
Yes, that was
Now she's
in
resigning
February,
again?
yeah.
Interesting, okay.
Okay, all right. I think, is there any other business any other discussion? Like I said, without a quorum, we really can't take any action, but is there anything else that somebody'd like to bring up? Bernice, thank you for doing the interviews, or sitting in on the interview. I appreciate that. Anything else otherwise? Wait,
I just would like to add, yesterday I was, sat in with the Friends of the Library meeting,
okay,
and forgot that they were meeting upstairs, and I went downstairs first and bumped into folks at doing the art project, or that group that meets down there to do artwork.
Yep, the art
Painting.
group.
And she wanted to let me know how grateful that group was that they had that space to gather in. And so I'm passing that along to April and the members here of the board, that
great.
those groups are grateful for the space that we offer them.
Well, like I said, I spent an hour listening to the radio talk about the role of public libraries, and they talked about the role of a public library is the third space. There's home, there's work, and then there's public spaces where you are welcome, and that's the role that the public library plays. It's a community gathering spot, a place to be where there's a friendly staff, and you meet people that you wouldn't ordinarily run into, and it's really it's an important place in the community, and we're lucky to have a wonderful library.
We are.
Right.
Amen.
Good. Thank you. Ready? Meeting adjourned. Good.